Hello, my name is Tom, and today I would like to talk to you about something that not a lot of people realize or they experiment with. I have a Husky 460 Rancher chainsaw, and this chainsaw is a great chainsaw. It's a 60cc engine. It pulls really hard. I like it. I didn't do any major tuning or anything. This chainsaw comes with a 24-inch bar. Most people, they don't like that because they think it's very dangerous. However, those people don't realize that the longer the bar, safer it is to run it. The second thing is that once you have a longer bar, let's say a 32 or a 36-inch bar, you can actually do a lot of cutting, standing, especially um, when you cutting up already fallen trees, debranching, bucking, all that good stuff. It's really nice when you have a long chainsaw like this. This is a 32-inch bar on this 460, and it's so much easier on your back. So it came with a 24-inch bar, and I for a long time I wanted to be able to put a 32, 36 inch bar on this chainsaw. The problem I ran into that I didn't know is that the mounting solution for the bar, the mounting is this area, is very different depending on the brand. So if you have a smaller chainsaw, most chainsaws that they have the same kind of mounts. They have a 8.2 millimeter stud, for these bolts. The spacing is pretty much the same. The oiler port is pretty much at the same location. And I can actually show you that mounting solution on the original 24-inch bar. So this is a small mount. You can see that this slide is about an 8.4 millimeter. It's a little bit wider than the stud itself. These holes are kind of close to each other. This is the hole that is used by the chainsaw to push the bar forward, so you put good tension on the chain. You also have this little hole, the oiler port, that is also on a small mount, is very close. And this is where the confusion starts. If we have a larger mount chainsaw, meaning it's a larger, more powerful chainsaw, the spacing for these two holes will be very unique to each manufacturer. Also, this slot is going to be very unique on a large mount chainsaw. It's going to be very unique to the manufacturer. Husky uses 9 millimeter bolts. Steel uses 12, I believe. Homelight uses, and some of the big chainsaws like the 70cc and above, they use 14 millimeter. The oiler port is going to be in a very different location, so that's where the confusion comes. So when you go from a large mount Husky, let's say your chainsaw, your actual motor, your chainsaw is a Husky, and you get a steel bar. The width of this slot is going to be wider. You can buy an adapter. So that's pretty easy to handle, to be honest with you. What I did with this chainsaw, because it's an actual small mount chainsaw still, even though it's a 60cc engine, it still uses a small mount. That means these studs are 8.2 millimeter thick, and everything is kind of closer. I really wanted to get a 32-inch bar. I was looking hard. Every single 32-inch or 36-inch bar that you can buy is a large mount. So there is no solution to install a large mount bar on a small mount chainsaw. There's no solution, no off-the-shelf solution. So that means you have to modify your bar. So today, I'm going to show you what I did to this bar, what I had to do. It's a lot of modification. However, I recently had a job where I actually used this bar, and it was tremendous. It was tremendous help. So I would like to show you what I did. So I'm going to explain what the problem is in details, and I'm going to show everything. So first of all, you can see that, again, this is it's a large mount. Basically, it's a Husky bar. It says Oregon, but it's for Husky, large mount Husky chainsaws. So you can see that the studs are 8mm, 8.2, but the actual slot is 9. That makes the bar very wobbly. It's horrible. You don't want that plate. You have to take that out. So the first thing I had to modify, I had to find a piece of stainless steel. It's hard steel to fill that gap so it doesn't move anymore. So I had a whole bunch of scraps, you know, just laying around, and I did some measurements. I found the best piece of steel that still allows me to push this in and not get a whole lot of wobble. So the stud is 8.2. The width is 9mm. So this is a 0.8mm piece of stainless steel. So I just cut it with an angle grinder, bend it a little bit. Some people, they actually do the double ring, or they bend like an S form out of this, so they go like this. You know, once you do that, your material has to be thinner, half of the thickness, you know, of the gap. So I didn't want to do that. So I just have one piece of steel. You can see that it is held in by tension. So that was one thing I had to fix. The second thing I had to fix is the actual holes. You know, the original holes on the bar, they were here. You can kind of still see the outline. So I had to drill new holes for the mounting solution. So this is the plate, and you have this screw with this stud, you know, forcing the bar forward. So this has to go in, it has to be in the correct position. So, you know, that is very, very easy to do because I had the original bar. I just laid it over this bar. I put the chain on to make sure that the bar is in the correct, you know, position as forward as possible. And I just marked the new holes. I drilled them out. That is very easy to do. The problem is that the oiler port was actually overlapping the hole on this bar. What that means, you know, if you run your chainsaw, all the oil will just pour out. So I had to plug these holes. My good friend Craig has a MIG welder, and very gently I filled the original holes on the bar. I grind it, you know, super smooth. I checked it so many times with a piece of steel, you know. You check the gap from the side. It's not that hard to do, honestly, and you just grind it down. So this is the second thing I had to do, you know, moving these holes. The third one, and the hardest one, I believe, was the oiler port. So every single bar, I'm going to show you on the original bar. This is where the oiling happens. This little hole has a channel to your bar. So, you know, you have the same hole on the other side. So when you mount the hardware, the hole on the other side gets the oil, and that oil gets picked up by the chain. So that has to be in the correct position because that port is here. I'm going to show you in a minute. So the problem is that, you know, these bars are made out of 3 pieces of steel. There is one on the middle that ends right here. So in order for the new oiling solution to work, I had to move this hole. I'm going to show you here. The hole that was originally here on the bar, hopefully you can see the screwdriver there. The oiler port was out here, and on the on the actual chainsaw, that would be all the way here. So you have to move it somehow. So this side, please ignore it. I screwed this one up. I'm going to show what is actually working, what's on the other side. I'm going to take the chain off and the bar off, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. But I'm going to explain what I did. So I actually ended up, taking the bar off, put it in a vise, and getting a drill bit. This is a 50 gauge bar, 50 gauge chain. So I found the perfect bit to drill into the middle steel portion. And I used, the length. I marked it how far I have to go in, and I drilled in very carefully. I'm not suggesting for you to do this because you can easily break that bit, and once you do that, your bar is toast. You have to throw it out. There's no there's no taking it out. I have a DeWalt set, the titanium bit. I lubricated it like mad, and I just drilled all the way approximately from here all the way down there where the actual chainsaw port is. And I just simply tacked, the old oiler port hole, I just plugged that up too. And I made sure that the whole channel just stayed intact. So I had to move the oiler port. You have to do that. So I had a job recently. I used this chainsaw and I made sure that the oiling works. I can also prove that to you on a piece of concrete. I'll probably do that later, run it for you so you can see what a badass chainsaw I have. So the oiler actually works. I'm gonna take the bar and the chain down so you can see what's going on here. So this is the business side. You see the oil here? That is a very good sign. This is the oiler. That's why you have to move that hole. So that hole was so much up here that the oiler wouldn't have worked. So that's why you have to do that. So the hole is here and it goes all the way down there, and you can see this is where I plugged the old hole. There's another thing I have to probably mention. This bar is just thicker. So thick, as a matter of fact, that the chain, I'm going to put this back together. You can see that this is so much wider that the chain barely is not touching the metal. So I actually found some plastic shaving, so sometimes, when you run the chain at a high RPM, it's gonna kick out. So it definitely takes some plastic off. I verified everything, it's not really, a deal-breaking thing. It's fine. I'm fine with that. I can at least run a big bar. So you have to be aware if you decide to modify your chainsaw like that. I'm gonna put this back together, and I'm gonna show you how it runs. It's pretty badass. One thing I have to point out is that these dogs are not original to the chainsaw either. I bought dogs for a Husky 372 and I had to grind it, re-drill everything. You can see the marks here, and now it fits perfectly. And it makes my life so much easier. I could just stick it in there. You know, there's a dog on each side of the bar. So much more useful. Hopefully you can see that. It actually throws off, which is a good sign. So I hope you liked the video. I would appreciate if you would officially like it, subscribe it, and let me know if you have any questions or any feedback. Thank you. Bye.